Mark Carney is a deeply evil man who knows exactly what he's doing as he tears Canada down, destroys this once great country. It is unrecognizable from what it was even a decade ago. And he's doing it intentionally, knowingly, absolutely wiping out the middle and lower class. If you're interested in joining me fighting back against Carney and these global elite scumbags, grab a membership, join. You'll get early access to videos, chats, help support the movement. Carney has spent his entire career in service of the WF, Davos, and Brookfield. He is now continuing Justin Trudeau's insane immigration policies, allowing millions of invaders to pour into this country at unprecedented rates. Numbers just came out this morning. Expected housing completions in the year 2025, 227,000. That's it. 227,000 housing finishes. While we continue to allow millions of people into this country a year, there's already a massive housing shortage in Canada. If you look at a chart of housing prices since 2015, housing and rental prices, it has been an absolute explosion upwards since Justin Trudeau was elected in 2015. It's undeniable. Carney claims himself to be some sort of a genius economist. It's undeniable. In Canada, it's simple math. We do not have enough houses for the population that we already have here without allowing more people into the country. Yet Carney continues to swing open the doors and let the floodgates in. We're allowing over 1,500 immigrants into the country a day when we simply do not have the housing, do not have the medical care system, do not have the social services. We are not, to speak nothing of the cultural impact that this is having in Canada, we are not set up to accept this many people a day. Sure, if you're a top 0.01%er like Mark Carney, if you own Brookfield Asset Management shares, of which Carney allegedly made a $6.8 million profit in 2024, Brookfield Asset Management owns 37 billion with a B dollars worth of real estate in Canada, which has more than doubled since 2015. Basic supply and demand continue to let people pour in. Prices will continue to go up. But what about the goddamn citizens who live here, who you're elected to represent and govern? Since 2015, when Justin Trudeau was elected, and it has been a pure continuation since Mark Carney got into office, the Canadian government has claimed to be this empathetic, woke group that just wants to look out for the downtrodden. Well, how about, what about some fucking empathy for the Canadian people? Are you kidding me? It seems as though we have a government that's empathetic towards absolutely everybody except the actual people who elected them into power. Since 2015, we've allowed nearly 7 million immigrants into the country. Absolutely unprecedented growth rates. When you look historically at comparable situations to what's going on in Canada right now, with the immigration rates, there are three countries that come to mind most quickly. Rome from 3 AD to 5 AD, Argentina in the 1950s, and Lebanon from the 1940s to the 1970s. All three ended in absolute catastrophe, and it's undeniable. That's exactly what's happening in Canada right now. Life continues to get more and more unaffordable for your everyday Canadian. The demographics, the culture of Canada has shifted like you absolutely would not believe. It's not an exaggeration to say the Canadian people are being replaced, and they'll yell at you, they'll shout, oh, that's racist, that's xenophobic for you to say that. Bullshit. It's just the fact. It's just a fact on the ground. For those of us who have lived here for the entirety of our lives, it's so clear when you walk around. This country has transformed in such an extreme measure. Now, I know Mark Carney, the globalist traitor, would never notice that because he gets his massive motorcade into office every day. He never walks the streets. I live a couple blocks away from Parliament, walking into work every day. The amount of open crack smoking that you see due to safe supply laws, it's undeniable the downward trajectory that this country is on, and it's strictly due to liberal policies, liberal insanity. 75% of Canadians, 75% say we cannot withstand more immigration in this country. Yet what do? Well, look at a chart. I'm not making these numbers up. Since 2020, since the COVID pandemic, the immigration numbers have absolutely exploded. 1.2 million a year, 1.3 million a year. At the same time, housing prices continue to explode. Wait times at hospitals continue to explode. It's harder than ever to get a family doctor in this country. Social services, by every objective measure, have gotten worse. Violence against women is up 60%. Violent crimes up 80%. Data point after data point after data point say we as a society cannot withstand this. The three civilizations that I mentioned before, Argentina, Rome, and Lebanon, it turned into civil war, absolute disasters. You can't just throw away your sovereignty. And yet that is exactly what this government does. They act as though sovereignty is not a pillar of Western civilizations. If you don't have a border, you don't have a goddamn country, let alone letting millions of people flow in when you do not have the infrastructure to withstand it. We're only building how can you justify only 227,000 home builds a year, yet allowing in 1.2 million a year when there's already a housing crisis? That is nothing other than traitorous. There's no other way to define what's going on in Canada right now. They say, oh, it's a democracy, the Liberals were elected. Well, look at a fucking poll. 3 in 4 Canadians, over 75% in some polls, say we cannot withstand more immigration. And this is traditionally one of the most pro-immigration countries in the world. And still in Canada, people have eyes. People see what's going on around them. But we elected a man who represents the WF, Davos, Brookfield. Do you think these are people that give a shit about what the average Canadian citizen thinks? I think not. They're tied to the Century Initiative, which states that we need a population of 100 million people in Canada by 2100. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get anywhere close to that, because if the immigration rates continue at the rate they are right now, I shudder to think what this country is going to look like in 2 or 3 years, let alone 20 years into the future. We cannot withstand it. Like I said, the elites at the WF Davos, all they care is that their assets, like Brookfield's assets, have more than doubled. All they care about is they look at us as a landmass. We're actually the second largest landmass of any country in which to make money. But they're going to be sadly mistaken when there's a revolt, there's an uprising by the Canadian people, because we have been sold out for far too long. And Carney sold himself as some sort of an economic genius. $63 billion have already left Canada since he's been elected, because people are reasoning what a traitor and how incompetent he is. Data point after data point after data point economically. GDP per capita, 50 countries measured. Canada came 50th. This despite being incredibly resource rich. And it's all due to these green initiative bullshit that Carney is such a hypocrite. Again, he pushes these green initiatives in Canada. Look at what he's invested in through Brookfield Asset Management. Oil and gas out the wazoo in the States. The man is an undeniable hypocrite, and he is an evil man selling us out to global corporate interests. It's time that Canadians stand up and say enough is enough. That's why I'm getting this movement started. Saturday, September 13th, rally Parliament Hill. Take Canada Back. Starts at noon. If you're interested in attending, shoot me a message. Let me know. Same day as the UK is hosting theirs. Tommy Robinson, dude, I want to get tens of thousands of Canadians out on Parliament Hill. We need to hit the streets. So sick of seeing foreign flags in this country. We need to hit the streets. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share this video. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you're following on YouTube, because I'm over 10K on TikTok, and the Canadian government is not a fan of dissidents. Become a member. Join the team to take Canada back. We're going to beat these guys, and it's going to be a war.